All right. Welcome back. Episode 38 of the War Room. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We might have a little bit of difficulty on the internet here. I think it's on my end, but hopefully it'll clear itself up. It looks like it is. So let's go ahead and get started. We took a week off last week and want to get back to it. We wanted to get Toaster Dave Meyer on here, and it didn't quite happen. So we'll get those guys on here in the future. But let's talk RCR, man. River City Rampage. What'd you think?
I like the show. I like the build of the cars. Unfortunately, and I think Toast would even say, it's kind of dealt a bad hand with the weather. The track didn't really hold up very well throughout the weekend. A lot of fighting the track issues, but a good crowd, good people. I enjoyed the show. I'd like to go back and heck, even build a car and run it.
Yeah, one thing I wish, and we're kind of gonna maybe we'll start this tonight. I wish there was like an independent rating system on shows, and somebody that was educated on all aspects of shows would come in and kind of rate shows, because the reality is there's a ton of shows out there. There's a ton of options, and everyone's trying to separate themselves to draw the top premier drivers or just drivers in general, to their show. So I think it would make it a lot easier if you separated yourself in kind of like rated shows, and that would be neat. That would be neat to see.
Yeah, definitely. You kind of have the ability to rate stuff in pretty much anything that you see in life, whether it's places you're staying at, or restaurants. There's all kinds of different avenues to go to rate those things, so other people can read comments and kind of get an idea of what they're getting into. I mean, I think it'd be beneficial to the Derby world as well, to kind of see what shows are all about, kind of how they're ran, quality of the inspection process, the quality of the officiating on the walls, and other amenities that maybe venues offer, and things like that would be great.
Yeah, and I know, look, a couple things that stood out to me is, and we kind of walk the line of the cars, and we take a peek at, what cars are supposed to be doing and not doing. And, we didn't really have to be an inspection to realize that inspection was a really good inspection. And how you can tell is cars are doing what they're supposed to do. The rules are really soft. Everybody's car is bending how it should. Nobody's going out there and just blowing people apart. And that doesn't happen at every show, so you got to tip your cap to Toast his inspection. And then you got to tip your cap to the drivers too. I know there was some that got loaded. We're not really sure what the story is there. Overbuild, whatever they were. We don't really know. We don't know who it was, but you got to tip your cap to Toast and the inspection crew, because the cars did what they were supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. And I think it was 87 showed up and 82 ran, or something like that. It was somewhere around that figure. But if you walked around and looked at the cars, you're seeing holes in frames where there's supposed to be holes in frames. The frame indicators are all there. And then when you watch the show itself, you watch the heats. They're bending where they're supposed to bend. There's not any particular one guy out there just going nose out and destroying a car and not taking on damage. And that's usually a pretty good indication of cheating, is when that sort of stuff happens. So you didn't really see that. You had the 98 to 02 crowd, and then you had the 03 and newer, the guys running the 09s and stuff like that were, they have their benefits, and they did well too. So I was really, really happy to see that, because like you said, there are shows that we've been to where we walked around going, hey, there's supposed to be frame holes there, and there's not. And it just goes back to the integrity of competition. What are we doing if we're not following those rules and holding herself to that stand. And at Toast Show at River City, I could tell that was being upheld. So that was good to see.
Toast actually commented on here and said they got loaded for body mounts. So I maybe at that show, I don't think you're able to touch body mounts, and it's probably going to be hard to get one by that crew. So it sounds like they caught the guys that did do the body mounts or foot washers or on the frame or whatever they were doing. You know, that they took the body off the frame, and they probably weren't supposed to be doing that. So this is what. This is kind of what I'm talking about is everyone kind of needs to be aware of that. You know, if you want a place to run that is fair, that you're going to get a fair shake and you know, everything's going to be settled on the track. Sounds like that's a place.
Yeah. I mean, it's just really good that you have a derby to run where you don't feel like you have to cheat to compete. You know, you feel like you can show up with a car that's built to the rules and you got a chance of winning. And that's really the hardest thing. That's always the conversation is, okay, there's cheating in the sport. There's bad inspections. There's all these things. And, you know, they kind of work in tandem. But that's definitely a show where you can just build to the rules and show up and run, and you're going to do fine. You know, you're going to have a chance to win. And that's what I saw sitting in the stands. So.
Yeah, that's what I certainly saw too. And look, you were talking about big names and guys that are still trying to make their names. And you know, they were all getting treated the same, which was pretty cool. And guys, it's a very light build. You know, good show as far as that. One thing that stood out to me was the choice of car. Now it seems like every year at Toast the Show, a square body Ford with the good suspension always wins, but it's necessarily, to me, what I saw wasn't a great choice in the heat. You kind of had to weather the storm a little bit in the heat. If you wanted a weapon, you probably went the 03 route, but it seems that, you know, 03s never are there at the end.
Yeah. And you know, what you really saw out there is it's about driving. It's about how you drive the car. So they're combating a couple of different things. Their build choice, whatever, you know, year frame they went with. And then tire choice was a big deal too, because of the way the track was. And again, it's to no fault of the promoter. It was, so you got to drive differently when you have a different style of track, and tire choice is a huge deal. I saw some guys out there really struggling with guys who were running solids, really struggled. You know, guys with out the right tire back there, they weren't really able to kind of stay on top of the track as well. But you know, a lot of guys struggled with the track, and you know, you just have to drive differently when you have a different surface.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if we're just not quite there as a sport or what was going on. But do you recall seeing a lot of people change tires?
Not a lot. I did see a few after the heats, you know, guys going into the feature with different tires on, trying to combat that track a little bit. And here's some of the people I don't think people know. I think people watching the live stream would maybe be a little bit critical and say, well, why didn't you do this or that before the heat started? Well, you know, we had some information that the fairground or the fair board issues a fine or something like that if Toast touched the track, because it's a horse track, a pulling track, maybe. So there's a lot of other things going on there as to why it didn't go. I think even Toast said that they put down some other dirt on top that he wasn't aware of prior to going there. So, you know, for those being a little critical of that, I mean, I just make sure you have all the information. But, yeah, to the tire selection, I didn't see a whole lot of people changing tires, but I did see a few.
Well, you know, and to that, you have an outdoor venue. It's open to the elements, and you certainly have to adapt. So I think we saw some hate or whatever you want to call it, banner being thrown towards the promoter. And you know, the reality is, man, it's like in Supercross, you know, or AMA, they call it like a mud race. Hey, look like you can't control the weather, and it looked like it was a mud race. So you adapt and overcome. And, that brings me to a guy that always seems to adapt and overcome, and that's Dave Meyer. The dude is always there at the end.
Yeah, we talked about it before the feature as we were driving around talking to people. We were like, this just feels like a Dave Meyer show today. Being patient, his style of driving, he can turn it up, he can slow it down. He can kind of stay out of the fray a little bit better than some. And it's just the way you drive. I mean, he had an interesting rear tire choice going on there. He had them, what were they called? Do you remember what those are called? They're tires that I would usually run on the front of my truck. They're like BKTs or something like that. That I don't know. They're something, but they weren't even on the bead. Like they weren't even on the bead of the rear wheel. I was just like, what's going on here? But it worked. I mean, it certainly worked. Whatever he did, I'd love to know what that was. But
well, remember we were driving by, on the golf cart, and we saw that, and we both kind of looked at each other like, I think I even reversed and was like, man, his tires are off the bead. And at that point, I think we just kind of came to the understanding, hey, look, we are certainly not going to.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he knows what he's doing.
Or anything. Like if they're off the bead, apparently he knows something we don't know, and he obviously did.
Yeah, and it worked. And you just saw the different area. Having track awareness was a big deal at that show too. Knowing where to be on the track and where not to be. There were certainly softer spots than others, and Dave seemed to find those harder spots on the track and kind of exist there until he had to move and come to the action. There were guys that were trying to do the old hit and bury into somebody, instead of hitting and moving and getting out of it right away, and they're burying themselves in one hit. And then it's like, oh, what do I do now? I'm stuck. Like there's a lot of people who just, I don't know. I mean, you could just see the skill level and the driving and the understanding of the driving. I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody, but it was just a good derby to watch from a lot of different aspects.
Yeah, I think there was so much to indulge in there. Like we could go on for days. Hell, we did. We had a 6-hour drive back home, and we talked about the entire show, but not that really separates everyone totally, but that weekend it was separated, who had it that weekend. And like you said, finding dry spots on the tracks. When that feature started, there was a lot of cars on the track, 40 something maybe. And it seemed like, as far as even positioning yourself prior, to going on the track of where you're going to like end up at or where you're going to get to, I think you certainly saw some of the guys get to where they wanted to be or position themselves in the lineup to be where they wanted to be. That was a difference maker. That could have been everything, right then and there. If you got in that, it was that far left side, and if you got in the middle of the track, you were done. I mean,
yeah, there was that whole kind of left side up by the grandstands was pretty rough, and even like that top side towards the grandstands, most of it was pretty soft. But it seemed like the infield side on the low side down there was probably the place you wanted to hang out and be able to work from. And that's where pretty much the top 4 or 5, that's where they existed most of the derby, and were able to get it done. So there's definitely there's definitely strategy involved in choosing where you want to be in the lineup, coming out, and then getting to your spot as quickly as possible and owning it. And that's the name of the game. That's part of the strategy of winning a demolition derby. So on a track like that, at least.
Yeah, there was definitely some track awareness by those guys, and quite frankly, that was not a track to get into wars on. Anyone that I saw that got in a war got buried at some point.
Yeah.
you got buried, and although that's fun, and I love to see that. I mean, we were on the edge of our seat when those wars started. They quickly
Yeah.
ended because you just got in a bad position and you got buried.
Yeah, there was that what's his Colt Doyle? Is that the name? Colt first name, I think.
Yeah, it's Doyle, his
Um,
last name for sure.
I think Doyle's definitely the last name. I think Colt is his first name, but he number 50. There's been a like a video clip of him hitting somebody in the heat pretty hard. But he got it on pretty good in the feature there for it was. I think it lasted like a couple minutes, and then he was buried, and it was over. And then I mean, it's just that's what you play with when you want to run like that, and and I'm sure to him that was fine. I don't know what his intention was going into the feature, if he was just to do that or the win. I don't know. I mean, but he certainly accomplished, being exciting. And then Josh Hutchinson was the overall Mad Dog. Man, that dude was just on it the whole weekend. Like, I think he's on Jason Kinman's team for Bristol too.
Yeah, shout out Demo. Shout out Demo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on it. I mean, that guy came in on a mission. So he certainly accomplished it. That was fun to watch. A lot of good driving. You had some names there too that were a part of it. So
yeah, we talk about driving and driving skill and whatnot, and that's kind of a feather in the cap to Dave, and to win a show like that, that's different. As far as like usually it's fast paced heats, and it was still fast paced heats, but not only fast paced heats, but a mud. We'll just call it like a mud show. And to be able to change your game up and be able to win that, I think it's a feather in the cap. And hell, we haven't even talked about how he ended the Derby, and let's get into that a little bit.
Yeah, that was. I think we were sitting in the grandstands watching, and I was just looking. I was like, dude, this is like textbook right here. Look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. And then he basically used a dead car as a door, and he just like shut the door. And this I think it was Brandon Palmer was the other guy. I think that's who it was, and he couldn't find a way around to get to Dave. And Dave was using Luke Schaffner's car as a reset button, and just kept shutting the door. It was really cool to watch.
Nick, he's well aware of Dave Meyer, and he said he's the GOAT, man. If someone's saying you're the GOAT, that's pretty impressive. And I know he has 3 or 4 $10,000 wins himself. He has a Blizzard Bash win. I mean, you can't say he's not in the conversation. I can tell you that. The GOAT conversation is a weird conversation in Demolition Derby just because everyone's kind of carved out their own little niche for so long. Yeah. But I think, hey, it's worthy of that. I want to get back to what you were saying, though, that, one of the things that you said, Luke Schaffner, by the way, he ran absolutely phenomenal the entire weekend. Really I mean, he ran a awesome Derby. And, EPR, Adam, he ran a phenomenal Derby. And I know EPR, they usually turn it up and whatnot. And, I went up and talked to Craig Pryor, and Craig said he's going to try to win it. And he was too loyal, right? At one point, he got too loyal with one of his buddies at about 5th or 6th. And the loyalty.
At that point, he had the best car. I mean, he had the best car on the track at that point. And I think we even said it to each other, like, if he drives this right, I think he's got a really good chance of winning this thing. He made one wrong move, and then he got buried, and that was it. I mean, it was over.
And that's where, that's why you have to appreciate winning so much, because not everyone wins. There was one winner. And you know what? You just have to appreciate that greatness when you see it. But going back to that, he was using Luke to reset himself and then block off Palmer. I mean,
yeah,
you want to talk about a chess move?
It was the Jack Dervenick Jr. Out of PA there. He runs with the Siopas and stuff like that, and he got in a bad spot. He timed out, and then it was Luke and Brandon and Dave there, the last three. But like he said, he just kind of used the Dravenic Jr. boys' car as like a door, and he just kept pushing it closed and then going and resetting himself off Luke before he timed out. And then by that time, Brandon didn't really have anywhere to go to get to him. I mean, we saw an opening way down on the other end of the track, but I don't think Brandon could have seen that from his seat. So it was just it was interesting way to close one out. And that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was great, and I tell you what, that win probably underappreciated, and I would just wish these things would be talked about. You know, hell, Dave should have went on like a freaking Daytona 500 tour after a performance like that, and been on everybody's podcast, because I mean, you just got to tip your cap to a guy like that. I mean, it's you know, not only did he drive well, he probably had he had a underdog, you know, car in the heat because you can't tilt him. And, you know, then he set himself up for, you know, success in a number of ways, you know, with the tire choice, with not making enemies, not getting into wars, you know, staying in the hard parts of the track. And all those decisions ultimately led to, you know, him winning. Now, he did almost slip up, and me and you talked about this. He almost, you know, burnt those tires off when he had, what was it, Luke, or was it Palmer? I think it was Luke, right?
I think Luke, it was Luke and Palmer. That Luke was trying to bury Brandon and get him up against a dead car and kind of bury him there. And Dave followed that all in, and I think it was up against Luke. He was trying to like basically bury himself in for the last hit against. And he's smoking him off, man. He was just smoking him off, and as he was doing that, Brandon got out and kind of wiggled out from the other side of it. We were like, uh-oh, like too soon. But again, he had that other car there, and Brandon hadn't made contact, and he just used it as a door, and Luke still had time, and he just reset himself. Like, it's just a reset button. I was like, that's a freaking reset button. Like, that's so cool how he's doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get Dave's thoughts on that, because I wonder if Dave almost maybe thought he was a little quick on that trigger, or, you know, hell, he probably had it all under control, just like the tire choice. I mean, who are we to – he had it all under control. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, far be it for me to suspect that Dave doesn't know what he's doing at all times in a car. I mean, you don't build a resume like that without knowing what you're doing. So I'm sure he had it under control, and maybe at that moment when he saw Brandon kind of wiggling out, he was like, uh-oh, like that too soon. So maybe he stopped.
Oh, and you know, a key, maybe those tires played a factor in. He couldn't bury himself because they were just spinning, you know, in the rim. And maybe he just couldn't bury himself. Shout out to Devin. Thanks for tuning in, man.
Yeah, Devin doing some work, you know, getting the Australian boys over here and working with them. That's awesome.
Yeah, how about that? Let's get into that. That's something that we didn't have on the radar for tonight, but let's get into that. We got some Aussies coming over.
Shane Ryan is the guy's name. I don't know the name of the other driver that he's bringing. You probably do, but
well, I did, and I would have to look it up. But
so sorry if those guys are tuning in or watching this, but you know, they messaged us. Was it a couple weeks ago? We got the first message from them, and you know, we thought it was cool, but I don't think the weight of it really hit until we started kind of getting more into it with them about it. And it was just like, you know what, we're going to bring Demolition Derby, you know, our style of Demolition Derby across the continent. You know, we're going to bring this to Australia. That is so cool, and work with them in the future to do events together, hopefully. And that's what it's all about, right? You know, it's about broadening the boundaries of the sport. You know, we have a great contingent up in Canada. the Canadian boys that and ladies that we run with, and really, I don't even look at them as another country. They're kind of like our brothers and sisters anyway. So, I don't even really consider them different at all. They're not. But it's going to be interesting to see what those guys think of American Demolition Derby, and especially at that level at Bristol, the type of competition we're going to have there. I hope it blows them away. I don't see how it wouldn't. So,
yeah, and shout out to Devin because he's going to be building one of them a car. So that's really, really cool. And we've raised some money too. Troy Tagg chimed in. I know Bryce Lanou chimed in, and a couple others have chipped in. To raise some money for those guys. But you touched on a little bit. These guys that are coming over are going to be influenced heavily by what Bristol is, and the competition and all that stuff, and they're going to take that back internationally, right? And that's going to influence what they do over there. Now, I don't think that they have the same lineup as cars, but I bet you they take some stuff back and really step up the game over there.
Yeah, and I just think what we can all learn from each other. Different cultures towards the sport, different expectations that we may have. We can work together to improve their product. Maybe they have some ideas that they can give us that we didn't think about. The thing with Demolition Derby over here is it's got 50 years of culture, probably longer than that. It's just been ingrained and beat in over that period of time, and as we know, people are not very susceptible or excited about change in Demolition Derby whatsoever. Everybody gets a little upset when you say, "Oh, we're going to do things a little differently." They don't tend to like that very much. So we found that out time and time again here with Demo and Bristol and everything else. But I'm excited, man. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait to go over there and watch a derby over there. I think that'd be so cool.
I don't know if you got a chance to watch the Tom Brady roast, but did you get to watch it?
A little bit of it, yeah. I didn't watch the whole thing. I mean, it's like 3 hours long, man. I can't sit for that long.
You got demo stuff to work on. You can't be
you
messing around.
You keep throwing work at me, so I can't do it.
Yeah. But on that note, I listened to that. I watched it, and I listened to Rogan afterwards, and he talked about the culture and how just all the comedians and everybody just supports each other. And Rogan shares his platform with the next guy, with Tony Hinchcliffe, who's becoming an absolute superstar. Rogan's the one that gave him that platform, and allowed him to bring himself up through there. And he talked about, and I encourage everyone to go watch this. I may even try to find it and post it. Is Rogan talked about when he first got into comedy and how everyone just freaking hated everyone. Like before you would go on stage, they would come up and be like, "Hey, Brian, your hat's crooked. You got a stain on your shirt. You're an idiot." All this like stupid shit trying to get in your head.
Yeah.
And because that no one ever wanted you to succeed, and they didn't really want the culture. The culture was to not let other people succeed, like they were taking your limelight. And it reminded me so much of the current culture in Demolition Derby, where you just have a very loud minority that somehow has a majority of the voice because they're so loud. And it's a terrible culture, that people just hate on everyone. They hate on anything. And, I would say 2 or 3 years ago, people wouldn't even admit that. So the fact that people are admitting it now, I think is a step forward that, hey, maybe it's not the healthiest place. There's a lot of shit talking that goes on out there, and it's pretty unnecessary. And hopefully we're on our way to changing that culture, because if you help, if you help someone, I mean, you get good thing. It's good karma. It comes back. It'll come back to you, and hopefully we could do that.
Yeah, and what doesn't make sense about it for me is that it's just selective. It's selective. It's almost like, for example, a couple years ago, I went to Blizzard Bash and I watched a group of people raise. I can't even remember what the total amount of money was for a young man who had cancer, and it was like over $60,000-$70,000, something like that, in like 2 hours. And it was just the coolest banding together of a group of people and for something good, and then you try to do something else. You try to create an organization that's going to be geared towards doing things exactly like that, but on a much grander scale. So think of how much money we could raise for, Crashing for Kids Cancer or any other, charity out there or something like that with bringing in new people to the sport, bringing in new money to the sport, investors, sponsors, things like that. Think of what we could do for people then. And there's just a group of people out there who are dead set against it, and they don't even have a reason. Like, they don't even have a good reason, even an educated reason. It's just, I don't like it, and I'm just not going to like it, and you're not going to change my mind. But the thing that we're trying to do here is we're trying to improve not only the sport, but we're trying to improve opportunities for people's lives to be impacted. And it deserves that. The people deserve that. Demolition Derby people, and I'm one of them, we have things that we go through too. We're no different than any other demographic or crowd out there. Why would we want to hinder our ability to help each other and root for each other and succeed together? It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's kind of where I have a hard time with it. But I guess it's expected.
It is. It's so selective too. There was a lot of people poking fun at the, creating this narrative of ticket prices are too expensive, at Bristol, and completely overlooking the $120 ticket that we have at Bristol for 4 days. And, some other big shows have announced their tickets and you don't hear anything out of them, even though it's the same price. And they don't say anything. As a matter of fact, there's a ticket offered that, it's a higher up ticket. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to stoop as low as those people stooped. And not claim what it is. It's a higher up ticket. You get some food and some service with it, but it's $130 a day, $140 a day. There's nothing wrong with offering that ticket. But and we're not going to sit here and claim that in order to go to that show, you have to pay $130 a day. That's just false. But that's what people chose to do to us. They chose to look at our pit pass ticket and say that it's $220. Well, it's not. That's an upgraded ticket. So that type of pointed and directed nonsense that's a culture. It's a culture problem. That's it. It's a culture problem, and we hopefully we're on our way to we as a sport. When I say that, we as a sport are on our way to curving that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think when we set those prices too, we were pretty. We tried to be pretty aware of what some of the other bigger shows were doing price wise, and we broke it down. I think I made a post about tickets, and I broke them down by the day, and considering it was 4 days and 7 sessions and 28 hours of action at the minimum, this is what you're getting, and look, I get it. The travel and everything else, it's not for everybody. And we know that. I mean, you got vacation schedules, you got other things going on. And that's fine. But to say that it's a money grab and, we've outpriced people to be able to enjoy it or something, it's a ridiculous sentiment. And I don't know. Those are the people that it didn't matter what you do. I mean, you could have given them tickets for free and they still weren't going to show up. So,
well, and then, honestly, yeah, they weren't going to show up anyways. They weren't coming anyway. So it doesn't matter. Then honestly, we feel like we have to address it, and we have to address it on our platform. Probably the people that are tuning in, they already know better. That we're probably speaking in terms that, hey, look, we don't really care. We already knew this. We didn't, listen to these guys anyways. But we have to get it out there. Maybe some people are tuning in and, that thought that they were under that that assumption. I mean, hell, when we went to River City, we answered a ton of questions that were just things that I've never even heard.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones was that we weren't going to let people drive down to the track, that they were going to have to haul their cars in and out of the track. And it was just like, where did you hear that from? Like, there's nothing about that is true. And in fact, we're going to let each driver before their heat do a lap around Bristol Motor Speedway on the track. That's like one of the main cool things we thought was going to be sweet. What we're talking about is specifically is if your car is disabled and not able to make it up the banking to get off out of the speedway, we are going to put you on a rollback and take you out so you don't destroy the NASCAR track trying to make it up there. So that's what we're talking about. Like, it's not that you're not allowed to drive on the track. NASCAR in Bristol specifically, they're very well aware of motorsports and the carnage and things that happen. They have no problem with it whatsoever. So,
as a matter of fact, if we had to, and we're not going to, we're going to run on dirt down there. We could run on asphalt. So that narrative was a new narrative, that we were just like, huh? Like, what did you say? We don't really understand. And where did that come from? Oh, well, just rumor has it that you have to get your car transported in and out of the speedway. That's just a false 100. Couldn't even be further from the truth.
Right. You will definitely be able to drive your car on the NASCAR track at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Not only are you going to be able to drive your car on the track, like you said, every class is going to do a lap around Bristol prior. So that is going to be, because it's Thunder Valley, man. It's Thunder Valley. It's the last Coliseum. Like, we want to get that place, roaring, and that kind of like hair on the back of your neck standing up, like, hey, these boys are taking a victory lap. They're here at Bristol and they're taking a victory lap. And I don't know I've never even thought about saying this before, but you're going to take a lap at Bristol with a field. Like, if you're, let's just say it's the pro or the pro stock. What is that? 40 teams. You got 80. So you're going to take a lap with 80 guys around Bristol. I mean, that's just incredible. Of course, there's going to be some bumping and banging. I guarantee you. I mean, Brian, if you're in front of me, I might junk your car, before, I'm just saying.
You ain't junking any car I build.
I'm going to give you a little bump around there. I might put you in the wall.
Hey, I'm going to get up underneath you, get you loose, and put you in the wall, man. I mean,
I'm telling you right now, I guarantee some guys are going to have some fun with that.
Yeah, you don't think guys are going to be out there doing that? Like, come on. And guess what? If you do, we're not kicking you out. We're probably going to laugh and go, okay, we need you to get over to the track now so we can actually run this show. But that was funny. It's all good. We want you to have fun. We want the drivers to have fun with it and enjoy their time there. And that's just part of the experience. So
let's get to a couple of these comments. Thank you guys for chiming in. So it's Bristol. It's Bristol, baby. Not a county fairgrounds. We're on board. So yeah, thank you. I sometimes we're probably preaching to the choir here for guys that are tuning in. But it feels like we have to address some of these things because they're so outrageous. Devin chimes in because I want to be able to make a living either building, driving, or owning demolition derby cars one day. There is absolutely no promoter organization trying to put demolition derby on a big enough stage to make that even possibility at this point. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, that's what we want. Can you imagine? I mean, how many lives and how many families are going to be impacted if we can get this thing to where we think it will be, and relatively soon. We're going to get into some sponsor talk here later on, but we are getting some outside eyes to come in and look at the sport, and it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have that for everybody. And
Ryan, you got to be on his pit crew. I can't be there.
Oh, I got you, Kidman. I'll be there to help you out, big guy.
So go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, back to Devin's comment. He's absolutely right, and people might think it's crazy to say it. It's not. It's not crazy. It, is it any different than people making a living riding motorcycles and racing cars? It's not ridiculous. Any sport, when it first started, people would have said the same thing. When it was first brought to the main stage and had the time to develop and become a pastime, something that people enjoyed watching. The fact is, and we've been subjected to this quite a bit in a lot of these conversations and discussions we've had with people outside of the Derby community, is people don't know what this is. They don't know about it. It's the motorsport they didn't know they wanted to watch. So as we bring this to more people, I'm telling you, this thing, there is no cap on how big this can get. There just isn't. And with no cap, there's no cap to what can happen as a result of that. The programs that we can create, the resources that we can utilize for really good things, to be able to have drivers and builders and, team owners and things like that do this for a living. And I've told you this, to be working in Demolition Derby and making a living doing it, that you're not really working. You're doing what you love to do. And that's everybody's dream out there, is to make money doing something they love to do. This is not crazy. This is why I believe in it so much, because I think it's right around the corner. And if we just keep executing and doing the right things, we're going to get there. The sport's going to get there, and it doesn't destroy anything else. It doesn't destroy county fairs. It doesn't destroy anything. It enhances everything.
And if you think about it, Demo hasn't even had a show yet. And look how much is changing in the Derby world. Look how it's making everybody step up their game. And we haven't even had a show yet. There's not even a show that's been had yet.
That's great. And you know what? That's great. I mean, it's great that guys they're stepping up their games, and payouts are going up, and quality of shows are going up. We saw, Victory Lane. We saw another Victory Lane use recently. I wonder where that came from. We see people moving shows around and setting new dates, and you wonder why. You wonder why this is happening, and it's pretty obvious to me. So,
yeah, and one of the unique things. Well, there's a couple unique things, but one of the unique things is we're going to be able to capture all of this in a docuseries. So I don't know if we've touched on it enough, but we're going to have a professional camera crew at both the King of Ohio and Bristol, and then in between both shows, documenting the whole transition going into Bristol and the establishment of the organization. So you're going to see all the behind the scenes, some nitty gritty. You probably see Brian get mad a time or two, on camera, and it's all going to be documented, which is really cool, because this is something that we are like head over heels doing, want to do, because this has never been done. You're never going to replicate what it was like to be in the moment at Bristol, what it's like to be in the moment at King of Ohio, and we're going to have that all on film. We're going to be releasing that through like shorts on our YouTube channel. So we're going to have a ton of content through that. And then also, leading up to Bristol and beyond, there's an aim to create or sell this product, or rent this product to a streaming service. The whole goal is to get this to the outside world. Well, we have all that in place. So anyone that is going to be at King of Ohio, there's going to be wear your makeup, because there's going to be two different camera crews. There's going to be Derby Nation, right, doing their thing with the pay-per-view, and then there's going to be an entire other camera crew that's going to be capturing everything. So if you ever wanted to possibly make it to a Netflix type Amazon Prime thing, well, here's your shot, starting at King of Ohio. So we're really excited about that. One of the things they're going to be focusing on is the big three, and the big three with JT, Pete, and Chad running against each other. And you know what? The coolest thing about this is when we went and talked to all the charter owners and said, "Hey, this is how we're going to start this, and this is kind of how it needs to go." Going forward, is we need entertainment, we need drama, we need all that. But everybody was like, yeah, like nobody had any problems with it. We need to capture the content prior to Bristol to get it out there, right, and start that build up to Bristol. So, what better show to start it off at than at the King, where a lot of these guys are already running, that are members. But now, look, that certainly doesn't mean if you are not one of the charter members that you are not going to be captured in that docuseries. I'm gonna tell you right now, you come out and put a performance on, it's all going to be videotaped. So this is your moment. Like you could be Jason Kidman overnight. I'm serious. You could be, that guy's got 20,000 followers. It's one of the most in if not the most in Demolition Derby. Outside of like some guys out in Utah, like Robbie Layton. But
yeah, Paul Cox and those guys.
Yeah, so there's a couple guys out there that have a little bit bigger following, but the stage is yours. It's there, and that's really, really neat.
Yeah. Hey, it's about getting exposure to the outside fan bases that we haven't seen yet. 35K on TikTok, 20K on Facebook. Fact.
Hey, I'm cool with getting fact checked. We don't want to put out any false information.
I felt like that was kind of a chest pump there. He's kind of throwing you, a little.
Dude, I'd be proud of that too. You kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, dude. No, that's cool. Yeah, I know I'm going to have to wear my makeup, I guess. I mean, from what you were telling me, I'm going to have to do some commentating, I guess. And good Lord help me.
Now we'll get you in there. You'll be looking all good, ready to go, talking to these guys. Hopefully, whoa.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we want to see right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the attitude right there. That's
listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, and I think Kinman I had this talk the other day. If you don't come with that attitude to this show,
don't show up.
Don't even show up, dude. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, we don't get 82 cars at this show, and part of the reason why we don't get 82 cars here is because everyone doesn't want to compete, and that is just the reality. Okay, At this show, we had 29 cars last year, and I'm gonna tell you right now, it was we had 9 features. And what do you mean by features? 9 heats where you had to win the heat to move on. That's it. It's a feature. You have to win, or if you come to the King of Ohio and you're coming to compete, you have to win. That's it. That's the only way you're moving on, man. It all matters.
Ken says he's not.
That's right. Hey, Ken's made the feature, so don't count the old dark horse out there. I got to answer this real quick for King. For the King, does each driver pick an inspection time or sign up? It's for the team. I should have sent that out in the email. It's for the team. Thanks for commenting on here, Randy.
Yeah. But no, you're getting back to what you're talking about competition. There's a lot of drivers out there who, I'll just say it, they think they're better than what they actually are, because they kind of exist in this political world where they only run shows with their buddies. They won't come and see how good they really are against competition, and in a format that only allows competition to exist. It doesn't allow politics to exist. So there's guys out there who just don't want to risk, their reputations or their self-made legacies destroyed. But that to me, that wouldn't even do that. Like, it's, hey, you just, your legacy is secured by even doing it. like by being out there and competing. And we all know in Derby that you can win 10 in a row and then lose the next 20 or 30. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast sometimes. Winning is not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be difficult, and it's supposed to matter. So, if there's guys out there thinking, it's not for me, I hate when people say that. It's not for me. I'm not good enough. I wish people would think differently and want to challenge themselves a little bit. And if it were up to me, it's a world that I wouldn't like to start delving into, but
Yeah, the competition side of things, I think that we're going to go into a transition. Um, we're going to go into a transition where that happens, where people, because right now, if you think of the Derby world, what's happened is people have carved out their niches, and their niche is kind of their roost where they rule. And we saw a big change. I think this has been transitioning for a while. I think Blizzard Bash was certainly a place where the mono e monos existed. I think, and I'm talking about competition at the highest level. And of course, we're probably going to forget some people along the way. Dent back in the day. Obviously, we think we've captured that with King of Ohio. But then Bristol, with the teams that are signed up to run Bristol, I think it seems like boom, you've got that again. And honestly, I mean, the Derby world needs competition. You need competition at the highest level, and that's just not just to sell it internally. That is to sell it to the fans, because you get to see moves and calculated decisions like Dave Meyer's, when you got the best of the best. And then also, this gets lost out there too. A lot of people say, well, all you do is appeal to the best. Listen, let me tell you something, man. The best have earned their right to be called the best. Okay. Now we want the best of the entire country that have earned the right in their niche to run against each other to ultimately crown the king, right? Or crown the champion of Bristol. And that's kind of the next level. And, you hear this all the time. People, well, you only appeal to the big guys. Look, every single person, every single one of us was a little guy at one point. And we all looked up to somebody, and either we got to their stage if we had enough desire, will, skill. You found a way. If you have enough of that in you, then you'll get to that guy's level that you looked up to and maybe surpass them. And that's what makes people great. That's why we were talking about this in AMA. That's why you have the Jeremy McGraths, to the Ricky Carmichaels, to the James Stewarts, to what's the guy today? He just won the title.
Hayden Deegan?
No, Deegan's an up and coming guy, but
yeah, I remember.
Jet Lawrence. You have these guys that are just on different levels, and that's what's neat about it. Is I think what we're going into is if you don't see an opportunity here to make a statement, regardless of who you are or how big your name is right now, I don't know why you compete, because you have every opportunity to be as big a name as anyone in the sport. You win King of Ohio, everyone will know who you are.
Well, it's kind of like it's like an Eeyore complex that people have, is like, oh, poor me. I'm not as famous or popular as somebody else is. But when people start saying big names versus small names or little guy, it's just a self-deprecating statement that I find no value in whatsoever. Look, nobody's a little guy. If you want to be a big name, if you want to be popular, if you want to be well known, and then the opportunity is sitting right here in front of you to do it. And it doesn't mean you're less skilled. It doesn't mean you're less of a driver. You might be well beyond some of the other big names that are out there right now, as far as all that goes. But we just don't know about you because you haven't run maybe the big shows, or you don't do social media content, or you're not there yet on that stage, but here, come be on the stage and show us, and when we want to see you. And there's a lot of classes that we're offering at Bristol that you don't have to bring a $50,000 car. The people say we're just appealing to the people with the money in their pockets is utterly ridiculous. We're offering minivans, a couple different versions of compacts, couple versions of full-size cars. We're offering full-size trucks. We're offering a Rising Stars class for those younger drivers out there to band together and bring in and usher in a new era of stars. It's right there for you. If you're not signing up for that, I don't know what else you want. I don't know what else we can do to appeal to you. And what it comes down to is people won't sign up for shows to where they know they can't get away with something. They can't use the politics, or they can't cheat their cars because they don't know the inspector, or they don't have that relationship. There's just a lot of things involved there, but the stage is here, guys.
That's the reality. And you know what people do? They use that like reverse psychology to like poke holes in like King of Ohio or demo, right? They'll be like, oh, well, I don't like the inspectors, or I don't like this, blah, 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 blah. No, what you're really saying is you can't get away with what you want to get away with. That's what you're really saying. And I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't nobody in the country that went out and got better inspectors, has formulated a plan to have independent inspectors and put it all together like we have. I mean, we've literally got Dustin Ingram, who's our competition director, who's literally running the show, on the competition side of things, just as an organization should. Then we've got Zur, right? And then we got Austin Johnson. You want to talk about guys that are just really well respected and versed across the Derby world that are going to be holding these guys accountable. That's what I love about it. And you know what the coolest thing about it was? Our competitors, okay, as specifically in those two, that's what they wanted. They wanted independent guys from different areas. It was funny being in those conversations. I wish we could have got them recorded. Everyone, I want to make sure this guy gets inspected fairly. I want to make sure this guy gets inspected fairly. They were throwing it at each other. That was really interesting to see.
Yeah, and the thing that's cool about it, why it's independent, is there's finally accountability. There's finally an accountability structure to all of this. So, Dustin Ingram being the competition director, that means me, we're not going to be in an inspection. We're not going to have any part of that. That's not for us to do. That's for him to run and operate, and working with Michael Zur and Austin Johnson. And those are specific to the pro and the pro light. We have plenty of other good inspectors that have been chosen, and we're reaching out to get them on board as well. Leon Rumsey for the compacts is a name. I think Troy Tagg is going to be there helping inspect. Kelby Miners is an individual that we've reached out to for trucks and to help. There's a lot of good names of people who, and when we pick an inspector or pick these names, we don't just say, hey, it's our decision, nobody else gets a say. Like it or don't like it, keep walking if you don't like it. It isn't like that at all. It is, hey, what do you think about this guy? Let's talk to him. Let's interview him. Let's see what he's about. And then ultimately we take it to the executive board, and it's a collective decision for the betterment of the show, for the betterment of the organization. And then we give them the ship to run, and they get to decide how their crews work, how their inspection process work. They might make little changes to rules, not necessarily content based, but to make them more black and white to inspect to. So you don't have the constant back and forth in the inspection line. You're not waiting for hours to get through inspection, and there really is no arguing or drama. It's just, it is what it is. It says this, you did that, go cut it. Or here's your stick. I mean, that's what we want. We don't want this drama-filled sequence of events every time there's an inspection line. And you see that at every other show, just about every other show that's out there, whether it's a county
and
fair
then,
show.
And then you see the same people complaining about it, right? And post and this, that, yet they're not looking for a solution. If you complain and you're not looking for a solution, you are the problem. You're a part of the problem. Like, You're not looking for a solution. Hey, I want fair inspections. Well, who has fair inspections? Have you looked? Have you looked at what
What's
they do? Have
what's
you
the definition of fair?
Yeah,
That
what's the
let's
definition of
talk
fair?
about that. And fair means something different to everybody. Fair is my buddy that I've known for 15 years is inspecting my car. So yeah, I know it's going to be fair. Yeah. Okay. What it really is you want the inspection that gives you the best opportunity to get away with something. It doesn't mean fair.
Hey, we said it with Toast's show earlier tonight. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to build a light car and you want to have a chance, you go run that show, because there is no way that those guys let anybody get away with anything. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, I know cars. I know where holes are supposed to be in cars. It's very easy because it's just one, 1980s and newer. So there's certain things that you look for, but talk about a well-ran show that people need to recognize. Hey, look, if you're looking for that, Toast just delivered that to you. Be aware. Be aware that Toast 100% delivered that to you.
Yeah, it was.
And Brian, I want to touch on this. The reality is guys, if you don't run on the biggest stages and you want the name and you want the respect, you're quite frankly just not going to get it. The biggest stages in the sport, they allow you to make your name, to prove yourself, to get opportunities that others, especially at Bristol, we know the sponsorship side of this that's coming on board, and the potential, not even the potential anymore, the people that are going to be putting their names to this. And, don't come crying to us because Jordan Rutherford's got a sponsorship that he's about to announce, and I'm not announcing it for him, but don't come crying to us because you didn't put in the work. So when these guys start to get paid, all right, we told you so. We told you this is how you do it. This is how you get to the outside. This is how you put a little money in your pocket, and you get to do what you love to do. And you didn't listen. You didn't come run on the stage. Don't you can't come complaining to us because we're gonna have no sympathy for you. Like every opportunity is there right in front of you right now. I don't think that there is a better opportunity to be a derby driver than right now, because this she's taking off.
Yeah, it's exciting to see it happen, and it's almost like it's on a daily basis too. That something new comes out, to us. We're like, what? Like, really? Like, that's awesome. Like, it's just so cool to see these things these dominoes start to kind of fall. And then, you and excuse me, you and I have talked quite a bit. Like, once a few of these dominoes fall, the rest are going to start falling a lot faster because it's, like anything else in the business world, especially entertainment wise, I want to be a part of that too. Or I want, that guy's a part of it. Well, I got to be a part of that. I got to have a say in that. I got to be part of that. So, it's just really cool to see. Devin had a comment earlier of, instead of big guy, little guy, people should start using dedicated competitor hobby driver. That's very true. There's people with different goals out there as far as what they want Demolition Derby to be to themselves. If they want to exist in that, that county fair world, the grassroots level, that's extremely important. And we need those drivers. And I would tell anybody, enjoy your experience however you want it to be. But if you want to be on that big stage and you want to take this somewhere else, if you see yourself doing something greater within the sport, the opportunities, as you said, they're just there. We have them here for you. Take advantage of them. If you need information, if you need clarification on something, if you haven't signed up yet and you're not sure, get a hold of us. We'll tell you everything that we know. Information is power. Clarity is power. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you don't know what you don't know. And that's called wisdom, is being able to say it out loud instead of acting like you got it all figured out when you absolutely don't. So, just get a hold of us and ask questions and we'll help you along the way. But like you said, opportunities, don't let them pass you by because if they pass you the first time, maybe they don't come around a second time. So take advantage of it.
Yeah, well, they're not going to. Like, some of these guys are going to come into the sport. The only thing that, some of these sponsors are going to know are the guys that are running Bristol, or running King of Ohio, or the guys that are in the docuseries. They're not going to know other names, okay? And we're sitting here telling you that we don't want you to be left behind. We see where this is going, and we want everyone to have a chance and be appreciated. But
yeah, you might be a big deal to the current Derby world, but to that outside fan base that we're about to bring in, to those outside big companies and the people that we're talking to that we're bringing in, and it's happening, they don't know who you are. And the only way for them to find out who you are is to put yourself in a position to be seen. And if you don't do that,
And we're not threatening you. We're telling you, hey, be aware. Hey, we're waving the flag. Hey, man, like I'm telling you,
announcement.
Yeah, you don't want to miss this thing. We're telling you, and that's every class. You don't want to miss it, man. You don't want to miss this.
Right.
And that's, I don't know what else we could do, to make sure that everyone kind of understands that, guys, this thing's rolling. Okay. There is no real hypotheticals. There is no real like, hey, I hope this works or whatever. Like, it's the thing's rolling.
Yeah, we're there's a lot of things happening right now. We're going to get camping information out to the public really shortly. We're going to get hotel information out here pretty soon. And I'm telling you right now, if you haven't bought a membership, go buy one, because some of the deals that we're getting on hotels, if you're a member, you're crazy. You're crazy not to have a membership. Just what
was the deal that you got today on a hotel? You called me.
So the standard rate for an attendee. So we got a hotel block today with a hotel in the Bristol area. The standard rate for an attendee is $169 a night. For a member, it is $119 a night. That's a $50 difference per night. So you get a red level membership, a blue level membership. It's gonna pay you back in 5 days. Like, you're crazy not to have a membership at that point, just for that.
And not only that, but it's doing so much more, for the furtherment or the betterment of the sport, right? Like, yeah, okay, it raising money, yeah, it absolutely is. You do the things that we need to do as a sport and get this stage bigger and get out to more people. You need revenue. It's just how things work. And because we raise revenue, guess who gets revenue in return and gets opportunities and all those things? It goes hand in hand. There's a cycle here, and that's what's so neat about it is some of these guys, man, they're starting to take advantage of it because they're in the know, they're understanding, they're asking questions, they're reaching out to people. Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you are not reaching out to, if you're running Bristol and you're not reaching out to your local guys, local sponsors, whatever, and saying, hey, by the way, here's the press release from Bristol. And by the way, did you see it was in Yahoo Sports? Here's the link to that. If you're not using that stuff, you're crazy. Okay. You're crazy. That's just opportunities. Go to your local hardware store, go to whatever, put the work that we've done. Use it, man. Use that stuff to your advantage. Get the flyer. Pull the flyer off the website. Get someone to pay for your entry fee. We got to get people thinking a little bit different here. Oh, the entry fee's too high. Well, it's really not too high. But go get someone to pay for it. There's no shame in that game. Go get someone to pay for you to run on the big stage. That's the whole goal of this thing, and we're providing all the resources to do that.
How do you think how do you think other motorsports do it? You think those guys, pay for their own entry fees? No, not how it works. They do the work to get sponsorships and they put themselves out there. They shake hands and sign autographs and talk about a product in an interview. I mean, it's that simple. And then the company just says, here's a dollar amount, here's this, here's that, whatever, products or parts. that's how they survive. And it's a mutually, it's not like they're pulling one over on the sponsor or the company that they're working with. It's not at all. Like, this is what they want. Like, the companies want this. And you do a service for them that they can't otherwise achieve, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and it's how it has to work in order to be sustainable. So they're there. The opportunities are there. It don't have, having a conversation isn't a hard thing to do. It's really that easy.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm telling you, man, you don't want to be on the outside looking in. There's not. We don't, look around and look at everyone else's videos. There's not a bunch of empty promises. We're doing so much for you. No, we're actually doing it. Like, here it is. Use this to your advantage. We're creating material, marketing material, videos, all that stuff. Use it to your advantage. That is the education piece to get some people to start paying for your stuff, for your hobby. And, that, like you said, freaking opportunities.
Yeah, and we'll be releasing information here in the near future. It's really exciting stuff. What's coming down the pike. I mean, I can't even understate that enough. Or overstate it, I guess is the right way to do that. But it's just huge. It's huge stuff coming up, and we're really excited about it. As soon as those things are locked in and the deals are done. So
I'm going to pull up something here real quick, and we're going to get into this. And you want to talk about different people getting into Demolition Derby here. I think, let me see here. Give me just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Here's something really cool, and I'm gonna screen share this real quick. Just awesome stuff. This might be a little small. We'll see how that looks.
You can see it.
You can see that?
Yeah.
And is that better?
I mean, it's the same size, but you can see it.
Okay. So you got some sponsors on here, and we told you, like, the big three were getting some sponsors, and you got Locar Performance Products, who's going to be making a steering wheel specifically for Demolition Derby, which we're really excited about, which these three right here are going to showcase on their cars. So that's going to be JT Hildebrand's sponsor. You got Pete Hansen. Those of you guys in the motorsports world, Driven Racing Oil. Are you kidding me? They're coming in. They're going to be Pete Hansen's sponsor. And then we got one of our own, Robbie Crittenden, who literally, this guy just continues to step up, and just do things that, that other, you want to talk about somebody that gets it, that guy gets it. And he is going to be taking care of Chad Markley, to run in this iconic, big three. Two of these guys aren't even in the Derby world. We haven't even announced this next sponsor, which is probably going to be coming out tomorrow or Thursday. Okay, which is going to be a really cool piece. And guys, when we do these sponsors and we get behind this, we want you guys to support them. Okay, that's kind of how it goes. It goes hand in hand. Like, these sponsors are getting into our world in order to get some ROI, which means return on investment. And that's just how the business world works. So when we announce tomorrow's sponsor, or the sponsor tomorrow or the next day, one of the two will do an unboxing with what that is, get behind it, order their product, make sure you order through the links, that we have. Because this is very unique opportunities. Each one of these guys is getting money to run. Each one of them. When's the last time you heard that? Guys getting money to run Demolition Derbies. That's crazy.
Yeah. And they haven't been like, should we just say this? They haven't been paid yet. So there's no bounce checks or anything out there. But been
Oh,
something floating around that Dustin's, writing checks that are bouncing to the big names. In no way,
shout out to whoever,
they know who they are.
you know who you
But
are.
in
Imagine
attempt to make
imagine
in a
those imagine those scumbags coming up with that. I'll just
yeah,
leave it
right.
at that.
Yeah, that is not unequivocally not true at all. So
Maybe come up with something that you can prove next time.
yeah, but
Uh,
no, I mean but it's a really cool idea, right? And it's a really cool reality now for us is that sponsors are paying drivers to compete against each other. Like here it is. Here the proof. You want proof of something like this happening and being able to happen? Here it is. Right in front
oh
of
yeah.
you. Driven Racing Oil. That's such a cool sponsor. Low car. You have the prototype at your house. I've seen it. Like it's there. Like they've already developed.
You mean it's a real thing? Like we actually get things done around here?
You go grab the freaking steering wheel and say, no, they're not making it. That ain't happening. It's right there at your house. I've held it.
I'm going to get it. I'll be right back. I'll take myself off here. I'll go get it.
Okay. But just the idea that there's opportunities out there for you guys to get sponsors, and we're bringing sponsors into this world to benefit the sport. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. It's not like it's doing nothing for us and doing everything for them. It's right here and it's happening, and we're definitely excited to see where it goes, and more dominoes are about to fall. Dustin kind of alluded to a sponsor that we've got that's coming on board here. Well, it's actually already done. We're going to do an unveiling with that. Really cool, very relevant sponsor to Demolition Derby and that kind of a life that we live. So we're excited to announce that. There it is, the low car Demolition Derby steering wheel right there.
So this is something that they sent me, and what's unique about this is it's made out of 3/16. So people bending steering wheels and whatnot, like this thing's not going to be bendable. Okay, so 3/16, and they made this specifically for Demolition Derby, which is, I mean, in my opinion, somebody from the outside coming in, making a product, supporting a driver. Support these guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Support these guys, and there's gonna be steering wheels available at King of Ohio. Like I said, the three guys are running them, and obviously they're gonna be down at Bristol.
Yep. And Low Car makes a lot of good stuff. They do, throttle cable linkages, and I've had their dipsticks for transmissions and stuff like that. They make a lot of good stuff. So,
and dude, this goes for all three sponsors. If you're buying something and you're not buying, from guys that are taking care of people in the Derby world, you're crazy. Like, buy from the people that are taking care of the Derby world guys.
Yeah.
Driven Racing Oil, the simple solution. If you need things, buy from those guys.
Yeah.
And tell them we sent you. Tell them we sent you. Tell them Chad sent you. Tell them Pete sent you. Tell them, hey, you're here supporting JT.
If you're an engine builder out there, Driven Racing Oil is pretty much, we've talked to a few engine builders out there, very reputable engine builders about this product. And they gave it, pass with flying colors. This is Joe Gibbs Racing Oil from Pennsylvania. What's that called? The Pennsylvania green oil, basically, is what it is. High nickel content, or is that what it was? I think it was, but really good stuff. So,
Leon, I mentioned that Chad knows that he's going to have to put a little nub on that.
Zinc. Thanks, Adam. Sorry, I said nickel.
Is Adam in here?
Yeah, our driven distributor, our driven guy is on. Adam Shoemaker. He's been a friend of mine for many years, and he kind of brought it to me, and we were able to go down this road with him and Driven. We're really excited about it, and excited to have Adam will be there at King of Ohio to answer questions and all that kind of stuff too.
And we haven't quite done an official unveil yet of these guys. So this is kind of just giving you guys some insight for those of you that tune in. But we'll do an official unveil, and I can't wait to see these cars, the way they're going to look and painted up, and the different colors, and then just the hype around, these three running against each other.
Right. Very exciting stuff. And then, of course, Robbie. I mean, you already touched on Robbie, so enough said there. Just a good dude, and he gets it. So,
yeah, he just gets it, and he's doing a ton of stuff out there, and he provides a ton of different products, from literally putting 4.6s on the map. I mean, he's literally the guy that created a new Derby engine that for years people were just throwing away. They were a pile of junk. And Robbie's got these 4.6s out here screaming. I mean, people are running them against 350s now.
Hey, you full size elite light guys out there. We have a class for that at Bristol. There you go. Robbie's got everything you need. Light build. You can use the engine that's came with the car. You don't got to go out and buy some crazy horsepower engine. You can get it everything you need right there. So there's options,
which is really cool. And yeah, see, we got to get Adam on here so we can talk, more about, his product, now, and be knowledgeable about it. So we'll get him on. We'll get him on here. We'll get him in a Zoom meeting too. What else is there, man? Is there anything else? We got King of Ohio coming up June 14th, 15th, and 16th. That's in Lima, Ohio. Guys, there's double the cars signed up from last year. And last year was a great event for us. So, we've got 4 classes completely sold out, and which is really, really neat. And then we've got like minivans and front wheel drive youth and rear wheel drive youth that aren't sold out yet. But those entries usually come in late, with some leftovers and whatnot. But man, it's going to be an awesome show.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. A lot of action on the track. Brent's going to let you know that trucks are going to steal the show at the King. I have no doubt. You guys are going to be running Saturday night. The trucks will be running Saturday night under the lights, man. I expect every one of you guys to bring it. I've already been seeing some of the builds that have been popping up. I wish I could be out there again this year. Unfortunately, that ain't going to happen, but at least I get to say no one ever took my trophy from me. So.
What you are going to be able to do, though, is you are literally going to be able to represent those guys, on the broadcast in a way that only a true truck guy can. And, I'm serious. I think I know obviously a lot of the truck guys are going to be there running with it being a sold out class. But go back and order the pay-per-view afterwards on derbynation.tv, because I guarantee you that guy is going to be, giving flowers where flowers are, are deserved.
Yeah, they certainly deserve it. A lot of these guys that are going to be here are guys that I run against throughout the year anyway. And I'm telling you, I've never been told by anybody at a Derby that trucks were boring. It's never happened. So I don't expect it to be any different here.
Hey, look, I just want to challenge everyone. I'm ready for a true party. Okay, at King this year. And you go to these big shows and you search around for, you might get 30 people at a campsite or this and that. We're literally having a barn dedicated to partying. So I want to see if you guys can actually party.
I don't know.
Can you guys actually do a little bit?
I don't think they can. I think it's weak. I think they're weak, man. I don't think the party scene in the Derby world is as strong as it used to be. That's just my opinion.
Well, we're going to find out. We're bringing in a DJ. We've got all kinds of lights. Devin might be banned there because I think there is black lights. So he's probably banned. He's probably not allowed to walk in there. He's definitely not allowed to take his van in there. I can tell you that. Don't put a black light in that van.
No. Yeah. I see. I skipped out on that event. You guys went driving around at 3:00 in the morning looking for a NASCAR party and you couldn't find one. But I had enough for that day. like I said, I don't think the people that are going to be there can party hard. I don't think they can do it. I think they're going.
No, I'd like to see somebody at sunrise when we're getting up, going to they're going to bed. We'll see. I want to see somebody do that.
Nah, ain't gonna happen.
So, anyways, guys, we want to have a little bit of fun, man. We want to bring the party there. See, after that truck heat Saturday night, and we're gonna do this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, I definitely know they all can't hang for 3 days.
No.
But Saturday night should be the big one, and the truck should kick us right off into Championship Sunday.
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe. Do you really think that these trucks are going to put on the show that
I'll tell you what, if they don't, I'm going to go around and I'm going to slap each and every one of them across the face. Don't you embarrass me out there. Like, I've been talking you guys up. Like, don't you dare embarrass me or this class. And I don't think they will. I mean, I think they understand the assignment.
They get it. They get it. We're just poking a little fun now because
Brent, I don't even know. Brent all upset. Brent's going to be like, oh, come on. He's going to be messaging me after this. He'll be the only party that night. Yeah, I believe it.
Dude, I'm telling you what, trucks are going to be great. And you know what? Right there is a perfect opportunity. Guys running trucks. It's going to be on camera. If that thing is as wild as what we think it will be, guess what's going to make the docuseries? I almost guarantee it. And remember, we don't have much control over that of what makes it. They're going to say, dude, that was awesome. That's got to be in there.
And I don't know how much standing room is in that Derby Nation trailer, but and if Steve Bucknam's sitting beside me, but he better watch out because when I watch a truck heat, I get a little excited. So I'm gonna be standing up. I'm gonna be vocal. So you truck guys, don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me.
Well, hopefully we got. I think we'll have Steve. Hopefully we have Steve and Billy.
Yeah,
that'll be.
Give me some room. Move out to the sides. So.
Absolutely. So, anything else?
Sign up for Bristol truck guys. We got some teams signed up, but I need more. Let's go. Like here's your chance. Let's go.
What is it? 15 teams?
Yeah, 15 two-man teams. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, there's no reason that shouldn't be.
Bring that violence to Bristol Motor Speedway. Trust me, them fans are gonna love you.
Hey, if you got the kahunas though,
they're not all built like I am. So I mean, they're afraid. They're afraid.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got to cover? Anything else? Covered the sponsors, introduced that just a little bit. We got something coming tomorrow or Thursday.
The only thing I would tell you is that tickets, the first ticket sales period is coming to an end here at the end of the month, June 1st. So don't wait. Get the deal. I mean, it's $20 off pretty much every ticket. Take advantage of that. I know it's hard to make plans that late in the year right now, but if you're able to, don't wait. Go buy your tickets because after June 1st they go up, and then that'll be the next ticketing period. So don't wait. Get your tickets.
And everything goes up. So by the way, we're like VIPs are close. Like the VIP stuff to get the trackside seating, she's about sold out, folks. So I wouldn't wait on that. We get a couple sprinkling in every day. It seems like that, and then all of a sudden one day there's several that come in, but that thing will be sold out probably in that first ticketing period. And
right.
Just remember, we're not bringing a lot of seats in trackside, guys. There's 160,000 seats around there, and contrary to what people are saying, the people that are talking out there, the old binoculars comment, there is not a bad seat in that house. I'm telling you right now, there's not a bad seat. And look, this is coming from somebody that, hey, we could surely upsell you on the $275, to get a trackside seat to see the action. But I'm telling you right now, I don't know. It's really not necessary unless you want that trackside seat.
You're going to be
fine. Yeah, the $120 general admission. going to be just fine.
You sit further away at some county fair grandstands. I mean, you know, it's almost funny because you and I have been there. We've sat in those seats and looked at where the track, like we've literally sat in them to make sure that these are going to work. Like we're not having a bad deal here or something like that. And it's just whatever. Like I don't even know what else to say about it, but whatever. You know, if you're saying that you're going to need binoculars, you're crazy, and that's all I'm going to say.
Well, you've never been there. You're just total lack of education. You don't understand what we're doing here, and you're just throwing shade to throw shade. So
you'll sit further away to watch a football game to a little 1 foot round ball being thrown around. But God Almighty, if you're not sitting right in the middle of the track as the action's going around, then it's a bad deal. It's a terrible deal.
And by the way, we have that option. It's just very limited. If you want that, if you want to guarantee that, go ahead and guarantee it. But we're bringing in a limited amount of seating, you know, for that trackside seating. And there is. Go ahead.
Also, buy your memberships. Like I said, there's deals happening right now with hotels and everything. Or if you don't have a membership, you're going to pay more money to go. Like you're going to pay yourself back in like 2 days.
And help us help you. We discussed this. The memberships, there's a reason why it exists. When you go talk to sponsors, you go talk to outside people, and you have this many people that are paid members, it means a lot more in these conversations. So help us help you. You know, that's literally what we're doing here. Support. Support.
I negotiated a $50 off deal for you guys for members today. A night. So I don't know why you wouldn't be a member. Like that doesn't make any sense.
No, and some of that is pay it forward. You know, got to pay it forward, man. Be about that.
I could just about read the.
Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty good.
Come on, Devin. Like now you're not. Don't make us look bad, dude. Now you lying.
That's funny though. That's funny. Dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, if Devin, if you come across another one of those vans, like I'm a buyer. I'm telling you right now. Like that, I'm buying one of those vans. Like that thing is phenomenal.
Yeah. We know you are.
But seriously, have you seen his videos on his vans?
Yeah, I enjoy his videos of watching him drive to wherever he's going. You know, just the crazy crap he does. You know, changing lanes and dude.
Devin's got fans at Bristol. Like, there's literally people that work at Bristol that.
Yeah, they're like, where's that crazy guy at? You know, the cool van.
Yeah. He said he paid $100 for it and already turned down $10K for it. Jeez, and Pete's. Well, find me another $100 one. You know, I'll take the $100 one for sure. That's just wild. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. We're an hour and a half into this. Thanks for tuning in to, I think, episode 38 of the War Room, and staying in tune. And thanks for being a supporter. You guys tuning in and chiming in and commenting and not being no hater. Being understanding, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Next week's episode, we're gonna have another one next week. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So next week's episode, we're gonna have the big three on. So you're gonna get Pete, Chad, and JT, and we're gonna have them live and in action, and we're gonna throw all kinds of questions at them. So we're gonna see what they're really thinking, what they're building. If they tell us what they're building at this point, and kind of where they're at on their builds and what their mindset is going into this matchup. I mean, dude, this has never been done. Like, these guys are running against each other, and they're the baddest of the bad. They've earned that reputation.
I guarantee if you aren't there in person, you're definitely going to be watching it on Derby Nation. Like, you ain't going to miss this. Like, you're nuts. You miss this.
No, you're crazy. So, and everyone's going to have their favorites, and who knows? There might be a little trash talking,
No, I mean, if Pete's involved, there's going to be trash talking. Chad's pretty good at it too. He's more subtle about it, but
I think Chad likes to trash talk a little bit more than people know. I think I like the way he goes about things.
He's a little subtle, but it's effective.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have that white glove for no reason. So
Lane Frost wave.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Episode 38. Brian, thanks for coming on as always. And shout out to, we'll recap the sponsors. Shout out to the sponsors of Low Car, Driven Racing Oil, and Simple Solution for making that Big Three matchup happen. And Then stay on the lookout for a announcement tomorrow or Thursday for another big sponsor coming in.
Makes me thirsty for a cold.
And they're outside, and they're guaranteed to be outside of the Derby world. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned for that.
All right.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys.